What is up, guys? It is TheCitrusPanda here today, and today I'm coming at you with a review for episode 7 of Haikyuu Season 2. Let's do this. Alright, so in this episode, really quick before we get into the episode, I'm a day late on it. Usually I review it on Saturday, but I had a job interview somewhere and I got hired, so I didn't make the review yesterday. It's today. So, in this episode, it mostly revolves around Tsukishima and his indifference / apathy towards volleyball at the moment, and, well, not maybe towards volleyball, but as, kind of like his indifference towards improving at volleyball, more like. So, we'll go into that later, but we're going to talk about him after I give a short kind of synopsis of what happened in this episode, and then the rest of the episode will be dedicated to that and what I think will happen. So in this episode, they finally get back to Tokyo. Another one of those like cell phone tower things, where quote unquote, the Tokyo Tower. It shows that like maybe a lot of people have this conception about Japan as being like all industrial or whatever, like this high tech place. But like these people from out in the country in Japan, well, maybe not out in the country, but like smaller towns and cities where like Karasuno is located compared to Tokyo, is a lot different, I guess. So that's something interesting to note. In general, like, this whole episode was just them practicing against other teams. Karasuno's practicing against team A, B, C, D, I can't really think of the actual names, but there's, like, so there's, like, Fukurodono, or I'm probably saying that wrong, and then there's, Nekoma, and the other schools there. So, in general, it's just a lot of people getting together and practicing. Now, that's actually pretty interesting, because I find this show pretty cool in the fact that, like, even after there's some practice games going on, and Karasuno is doing a bunch of different things, like all the things they were practicing last episode, they were trying to incorporate in this episode. Although the thing is that this show actually does it pretty well, because a lot of shows would just be like, yeah, practice this last episode, do it flawlessly, but like they're doing this in practice matches, and like they pretty much always fail. Like the one time Hinata actually did get the hit, like, with his left hand, and, even though Kageyama missed, that was pretty cool, and also he hit, like, a jump, hit a couple, things, but, like, whenever he was doing the jump serve, or, like, whenever Aussie was doing the jump serve, or, stuff like that, like the Rolling Thunder kid, who I can't think of his name right now, but he's doing a jump toss thing, he misses. So, all in all, like, it shows that people can't just magically improve in the show, and that's pretty cool. I like that in a show, because, there's a lot of shows out there that be like, oh, yeah, man, just try this new trick out last episode, gonna go in, gonna do it right now, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, but not in this show. It takes some time to improve. So, overall in this episode, that's basically what it was. It was just like practicing, but it's also interesting to see, going back to what I was just about to say earlier, but then I went into how they were improving. It's cool to see that the teams that are there, like all the teams are just kind of like practicing together. Like for instance, after all practice is done and everything is over, the one kid, Bokuto, I think his name is, from the Fuku school, the school that starts with an F, I don't know the entire name, but then the captain of Nekoma and Haiba Lev was there, but he was like not able to practice the locking because apparently he had to practice receiving, but they call in Tsukishima, and this is the first time that we see, well, not the first time, but the second sign / thing that we've seen for Tsukishima that kind of shows that he doesn't really care much about volleyball, or he's a little bit more indifferent to it. The fact that even his own teammates were practicing and he kind of just like left and he's like, yeah, I'm going to bed or whatever. So he kind of came in there and they were practicing with him, but after the captain for Nekoma kind of told him, Hanatsu, he's going to pass you up, man. He plays the same position, and Tsukishima, he didn't really care. He just said, like, yeah, I mean, the difference between me and him would be talent, like natural talent. And I guess that comes down to talent and skill. I think that I'm not an expert on this, but I think talent is considered something that you have, like you just simply have, and then skill would be something that you learn. So somebody that, like, the best athletes in the world, honestly, they pretty much had talent for it. Not that they don't have skill, but a lot of the best athletes in the world have just, like, they were born with the talent to do something better. Like, whether their bodies are just, they're better at doing physical activity or whatever. Like, they just, like, whenever they were born, they just have the right genes to have the talent. And then they had to, over the years, build up some skill, but the talent helped them actually develop that skill. So that's what Tsukishima's saying. He's saying that Hinata's just naturally going to be better than me. That's all. Like, over time, he's just going to be better. Also, he doesn't take that lying down. Also, he said, I'm not going to let him beat me, and, he gets that really cool serve in the game, in the one practice game after he's like, it's my ball, like, I don't hit this, he's like got this aura around him. He's like he's going Super Saiyan. But we actually saw a small, like, indication of this, Tsukishima not really caring that much, or like caring less than other people, whenever he was walking home from the practice, and his one friend, who, I can't think of his name, I'm a terrible anime reviewer, but the kid that always hangs out with Tsukishima, and he's like, oh, I'm going to practice my hits over here, so I'm going to go this way, and Tsukishima, you might think, well, maybe he wanted to practice too, so maybe he'd, like, say, yeah, man, can I come with you, but he just kind of, like, was like, okay, and he left. And now this is catching up to the fact that maybe he doesn't care that much. And I think that in the next couple of episodes, we're going to get some, maybe in the next episode, maybe in the episodes after that. I don't know, like, I don't know if they're going to skip and maybe do it later, but I think there's going to be some character development for Tsukishima. Not 100% sure, but I think that's what's going to happen. My last prediction with Coach Ukai was right, so, I mean, I gotta be right again, right? So as far as what that character development is going to be, I have no idea. But Tanaka actually was talking to Asahi and the boys. I don't know who else was there at the time, but he was saying how Tanaka's sister actually was saying to him one day that there was a Tsukishima that used to be on the team who was very tall. So one could only assume that they were brothers or related in some way, shape, or form. So what's weird here is that I have no idea because I haven't read the manga. I'm sure there's people out there that do know how this character development works out, but I think maybe there's some sort of weird thing that happened with his brother, whether his brother possibly got kicked off the team, or maybe his brother got injured in some way after being a really good player and couldn't play anymore, or maybe he just worked himself too hard. I don't know. I have no idea. But in general, it's the idea, like, Tsukishima, even whenever he was done doing, like, the short practice that he did with, like, Bokuto and the Nakoma captain or whatever, after that short blocking practice, he went back into the gym and to get his pads, like, that he left in his team, like, where all the team is, all the Karasuno players are at, and he gets up the pads and he's, like, he's thinking to himself, like, I don't, why do they practice so, it's just a club, why do they practice so hard, they'll only suffer for it or something. And there's a very short flashback of somebody who looked like Tsukishima in the door and a little Tsukishima crying on the ground, so I don't know what is going to happen next episode. It's a shonen manga. So I don't assume it to be anything dark. If this was maybe more of a mature series, maybe it could be. Honestly, it could be something more mature, like something about like abuse or something, but I doubt it. I highly doubt it, actually, for a shonen to do something that extreme. But if it is, that's pretty awesome, actually. It's not awesome that it would happen, but I'm saying it's pretty awesome that a shonen manga would actually have that deep of character development. But I think it's more of a thing that maybe he is just not inspired by it because his brother influenced him in some way. But it'll be interesting to see how that all turns out. So I think Tsukishima does like volleyball, and I said that earlier. I think he is going to be motivated at some point, but I think at the time he's just not. And I think over the course of the series, I think he's going to develop as a character who can really step up to the plate and be a good middle blocker. And I think that at the end of the day, even though he said that Hinata has more natural talent, he has way more height over Hinata. So even if Hinata got a huge vertical, like, I'm pretty sure it's something like a 30-centimeter difference. So, I mean, Hinata would really have to step up and jump really high. So I think Tsukishima, if he did try his best, if he did try his 100%, and the coach was even saying if he wasn't going to give it his all, he doesn't need him to be a regular. He doesn't need to be on the court all the time, and that's something that, honestly, if he's told that, maybe he will shape up, but I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, if he did give his 100%, I feel like he would be really good because of his height. Basically, his height advantage, you can really block higher shots. Like, you can jump up and your reach, not only is he taller, but his arms are longer, so, like, he will be able to block things that Hinata would never dream of blocking, is what I'm saying. And at the end of the day, I thought this was a good episode, and until next time, guys, have a nice day. Signing off.